Part 1. Awakening in the Dark. Sometimes life doesn't fall apart. It wakes up, and awakening never begins in the light. It happens in darkness. Not from the sound of an alarm, but from a whisper you can't ignore, the one that comes when the world is silent, and your soul finally dares to speak. I woke up at 3:03 a.m. stillness, the air heavy, and there, in the mirror across the room, I saw myself, but it wasn't me. The reflection didn't move when I did. It simply stood there, staring, and then it spoke. Why do you pretend to be light when half of you is night? Something ancient inside me trembled. Wasn't fear, it was recognition, as if someone finally spoke the truth I had buried my whole life. Part 2. The shadow in the mirror. I tried not to look again. I turned on the lights, played music, made plans, but the reflection returned, not in glass, but in thought. In every moment I played the strong one. In every "I'm fine," that was a lie. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And fate began to speak to me in the language of coincidences. Broken relationships, sudden anger, words that wounded deeper than they should have. Each time, I blamed others, the world, circumstances, destiny. But the mirror knew. It was me. Part 3. The descent. When the soul grows tired of pretending, it begins to descend. Not fall. Descend. Jung called it the night of the soul, a time when light isn't salvation. It's a lie that hides the wound. So I stopped running. One night, I stood before the mirror and said, "Show me what I don't want to see." And the mirror opened, not like glass, but like a void. From it stepped my faces. The woman who hated herself. The child still waiting to be loved. The lover who gave everything except her dignity. And the shadow, calm, dark, alive. She said, "I'm not your enemy, I'm your truth." Part 4. Dialogue with the darkness. I asked, "Why did you come?" The shadow answered, "You called me. When you pretended to be good, when you stayed silent but wanted to scream, when you smiled, but secretly wished to disappear. Each word was a wound, but behind the pain was clarity. She wasn't judging. She was revealing. You wanted to be light for everyone, and forgot that light is born from darkness." Then I understood. I had never been at war with the world. I was at war with myself. I had carved out everything that made others uncomfortable. Anger, desire, power, wildness, truth, and called it bad. But it didn't vanish. It became her. My shadow. Part 5. The mirror of truth. The more I listened to her voice, the less human it sounded, not cruel but ancient, like the echo of something that had always existed inside me. She said, "You built yourself to be seen, not to be known. You learned to perform love instead of feeling it." And in that sentence, I saw everything. Every smile I gave to avoid rejection, every apology I whispered for simply existing, every moment I swallowed my truth to be loved. The mirror didn't lie. It showed me how I'd betrayed myself in the name of survival. And suddenly, survival didn't feel noble anymore. It felt like self-erasure. The shadow whispered, "Love is not born in light. It's born when the darkness stops being your enemy." That's when I realized, I didn't fear her. I feared losing the illusion that I was only good. Part 6. The confrontation. The following nights, she appeared everywhere, in dreams, reflections, whispers. She followed me into silence, and every time I looked into her eyes, I saw not a demon, but the part of me that still wanted to live. "You called me darkness," she said, "but I am your fire. You called me rage, but I am your unspoken truth. I felt anger rising, raw, trembling. Years of pretending collapsed. I screamed, "You ruined me!" And she smiled. No. You ruined yourself trying to be what the world wanted. That silence after her words wasn't peace. It was revelation. For the first time, I saw that the enemy was not my shadow, but my refusal to see her. In that moment, she stepped forward, our faces aligned, light and dark. I thought she would consume me. But instead, she said softly, "I am you. I've always been you." And she entered me, not like possession, but like remembrance, part 7, the integration. The next morning, I didn't wake up in fear. I woke up in silence, the kind that feels sacred. Something had changed. My reflection no longer frightened me. It looked real, imperfect, alive, magnetic. The world didn't look softer, but I did, and that softness was power. Now, when jealousy came, I listened. When rage rose, I breathed it in. When sadness whispered, I let it stay. Because they weren't enemies anymore. They were messages. Each emotion, a fragment of my truth returning home. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that's exactly what happened. The light didn't save me. The dark did. Part 8. Rebirth. I walk differently now. Slower, fuller. My voice carries weight. My silence feels alive. People sense it. The shift. Some are drawn. Some are afraid, because wholeness has its own gravity. It demands truth from everything around it. I no longer chase love. I am love. Raw, imperfect, untamed, not the light that blinds, but the fire that warms and burns. And sometimes at 3:03 a.m., I still wake up, the air still heavy. But the mirror is quiet now, because the one who used to live inside it, the one I feared, lives within me. When I stopped fearing my darkness, I whispered to the night. I found a light that never fades. The shadow didn't destroy me. She taught me how to love. Not others, not illusions, but myself.